So here we are. I've got hubby Jez in with me in the Bothy Therapy Room. Welcome, guys. You going to say hi?
Hello, guys.
We've been for a nice long walk and we've used our muscles strongly up a really steep hill, the other side of Cheltenham. So we're thinking just give Jez a little treatment, might as well record it and see how it goes. So this is going to be a core therapy treatment, but I might bring another couple of techniques into play. Let's see how it goes. So before starting, I just need to ask you actually, anything I need to concentrate on, anything that's come up over the last month since I've treated you last?
Shoulder and neck is much better.
Your right shoulder was quite bad for about a month or something. Yeah, and that's all gone now. Lots of treatment, of course. And can you raise a leg? I'm going to push here and hold. Nice and strong. And hold. Fantastic. Two together and hold. Okay, little dip and hold. Strong. Okay, so there's something going on your right side. Your belt's in the way a little bit, but I think I can get around that. Just feeling into the side of the sacrum there, called a sacro-iliac, and hold. Absolutely strong as iron. So let's move on. We're going to go this arm, this leg, and hold. Okay, not too bad, and hold. Okay, I am putting quite a lot of pressure on there. How did that feel? I just wanted to check something while we're here. So can you put two fingers on your jaw hinge there? Give me this arm and opposite leg and hold. Okay, not much better. So can you put that hand, two fingers over this side? Yeah. Give me this arm and leg and hold. That's better. So do the same on your left side, doesn't matter which hand, and hold, rock solid. And this hand over there, yeah, give me this arm and hold, rock solid. It is better. Okay, so what I just tested for was a TMJ issue, temporomandibular joint, the jaw. So I'm just, while we're here, going to just ease out that jaw a little bit with a very gentle movement. This is using a QiGong technique. There's no rapid movement, no pressure given, simply my thenar muscles, which are at the base of the thumbs, feeling into the jaw hinge, so that the hinge at the top of each side of that jaw, but also my hand is feeling the sides of that lower jaw there. And what I'm feeling for is any tension. Now when I first connect here, I generally feel like a tightness, because we all hold quite a tightness at the TMJ. And as the effect of the therapy starts to take hold, I start to feel like a movement. It's like a circular movement, like it's a chakra, a very, very gentle vortex. And what I'm checking for is to make sure that the left and right sides are symmetrical, and also that the jaw is releasing a little, releasing its grip, that muscle tightness. As once the client relaxes, because they know I'm not going to do anything painful or sudden, then the jaw starts relaxing as well. Now, a TMJ can have a huge effect not just at the jaw and the head and the cranial bones, but also on the rest of the body. So it affects our walking mechanism. It's called our contralateral gait. And many of us have TMJ, jaw issues. That can be from stress when we grind our teeth at night. It can be from particular dental work where we've had to have our jaw open for a length of time, and it affects the symmetry, the spasms going on in the muscles that then rotate. There's torsion within the TMJ. And just by settling the jaw again, I'm just using my hands out in a almost imperceptible manner. I'm just settling it again so that there is some ease. And this will help not only with eating and chewing and talking and using the jaw, but also with the whole body mechanism of walking. And once I've done this, here we go, I'm going to retest the kinesiology muscle test that alerted me to the jaw. So we're going to use this arm, this leg. I'm going to push and hold. Fantastic. And I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on there, not only for myself but also for the client to prove that it is stronger. And hold. Brilliant. And I am pushing for a length of time. It's not just a jerky movement, it's a nice good several second hold. So now I've treated it and that's passing, we can move on. Because the neck had been a problem before, I just want to check a psoas test. So I'm bringing the leg out and up to about 45 degrees. I'm going to be pushing downwards. I'd like you to hold up for me, Jez, and hold. Rock solid. Fantastic. Doing the same on the left side and hold. No movement there at all. That's a really good sign because it shows that the C1 on both sides is aligned. It's not subluxated to one side and it's not fixated to C2. But also because if there had been a unilateral failure there, I would have known that it would be further down in the back at about T12. So let's move on. I just want to check the hips. The pelvis is so important not only to physical health but mental health as well. So I'm just going to have a look at the hip bones, check that they are aligned, symmetrical. The knees look good. If I stand at the base of the couch, I like to stretch out the clothing so I can see what the joints are doing. Ankle bones, and also really good sign here that both feet are pointing upwards. Sometimes, if I just tip the camera, sometimes one foot might be pointing out particularly, or up, or in, or sometimes you get both legs right over to one side and the client thinks they're aligned, but actually when they look they realise they're not at all. Okay, putting it back. So, looking good, but I am just going to have a little check of the hips regardless. I'm just going to have a feel to see if they are intact. Can you raise a leg for me and hold? Really good. Down with the left and hold. Little dip there. Down with the right and hold. Okay, slightly again. So we're just going to see if they're tipped down one side and hold. Really good. Tip down the other side and hold. Slightly there. So I'm just going to update my notes. Okay, so I just want to check a little bit higher up the back. I'm going to twist one arm in, push it down at the deltoid. Now, Jez, if you could hold your arm into you, tuck it in, and I'm going to try and pull it towards me and hold. Really strong. Same again the other side. I'm going to try and pull away. You're going to tuck in and hold. Really strong, and I'm putting a lot of pressure there. Okay, there are some more neck tests I want to do, but that's when you turn over. How's abdomen been and digestion? Everything okay? Yeah. Can I just have a feel of your ICV? So this is halfway between your navel and the top of the right hip bone. Just having a little feel with 2 hands here on the iliosacral valve. It feels a little tense, but we have just eaten. How does it feel to you? Sensitive, yeah. Can you put 2 fingers there? Doesn't matter which hand. Yeah, so pressing in as firmly as I was. Raise a leg for me. I'm going to push and hold. Yeah, so that's really strong. I think it's fine. It's just the fact that we've just eaten. But while we're here, let's do some other tests. Can you put a whole hand here? Raise a leg and hold. Really good. I'm just going to find a few tests. We're not doing every one today. Raising the leg and hold. Really good. Let's do this one. Coming in the side here and hold. Fantastic. So when I'm doing tests, I don't generally say what I'm testing because the client will have a perception of what they think that organ might do, fail or pass, and that will affect whether they fail or pass that test. So I just tested the liver and then the anxiety point and then the spleen, and they're all really strong, so that's great. So you can turn over. All right. Okay, so can you bend this leg? And can you raise the knee off the couch? I'm going to push here and hold. Okay, not bad. So what I'm testing here is the glute maxes, and that should be one of the strongest muscles in the body, but quite often fails. That's quite a strong one, and I'd hope it would be because of the amount of walking and cycling Jez does. And then bend this knee, raise it up and hold. Having said that, if it was to fail, which it has done a lot in the past, it's probably because his C2, so that's the second bone down just below the, it's the Atlassian axis, isn't it? So it's the second bone down, C2 in the neck, and that does that feel sore to you? Slightly, okay. I mean, Jez is very tall and has a long back, so the neck does take a lot of strain. We are looking after it, so it's much better than it used to be, but I will be giving the neck some TLC today. So I'd like to check your sacrum because a little bit of the hips were out earlier. So can you put your little finger and thumb tightly together, and I'm going to try and pull them apart. This is a kinesiology test called opponens pollicis. I'm going to try and pull and hold and hold and hold and hold and hold. Yeah, nice and strong. Just going to test that lower sacrum again and hold. Yeah, so it's just slightly tweaking on that lower sacrum. So that might be indicating not only the lower sacrum, but even the coccyx can come up in kinesiology. Right, so I'm going to start treating you now. So first of all, just doing a little Tuina Chinese massage, which is always, well, generally through clothes. It's a rocking mechanism where first of all we're just feeling the back, the spine. We've got our thenar muscle and thumb, this side of the hand or both hands, working into the edge of the vertebra, So we are, unlike with aromatherapy massages, we are applying pressure to the bones, the skeleton. And we're rocking to see if there's any particular spasm, cramping, fixation, subluxation anywhere. But also if there's any heat or cool, also if there's any pain for the client. We're making sure that there is a beautiful flowing, rocking movement going on down the body while working. So you can see the pelvis gently rocking from side to side, which is an excellent sign. Jez does get regular treatments and this will really help his spine. So those people I see maybe who have never had a core before, or maybe even never had any complementary therapy before, and they come for a treatment, and once I've done the kinesiology muscle tests, I'll work like this into the spine with some Tuina, and the spine does not move like this. It will move like one solid iron bar, like I'm rocking the whole thing, and the whole body will rock rather than waving down the body, down the vertebrae to the pelvis. So this pelvic wave here is so lovely to see as a therapist. That's exactly what I want. Once the back has warmed a little, relaxed into the treatment, then it starts revealing itself to the therapist as to where any even smaller irritations and spasm might be. And I'm feeling, see, this isn't too bad there, a tiny little bit here, lower lumbar, but then if anything this is the tight area, so it's higher thoracics, maybe 1 to 6, something like that. Having said that, I know that the lat dorsi test I did earlier, when Jez had his arm by his side and I was trying to pull it away from him, they both passed, and if they were bad, they would have failed either uni or bilaterally, and that would have indicated a T5 or 6, either subluxation or fixation, depending on whether it failed one or both sides. And they pass, so I know it's not that bad, but I am still feeling a little bit of tension. So I'm suspecting that it's coming from a little higher up, above T5, T6. So it's about here, like T3, 4, about there. So what I'd like to do is not only do some nice long Tuina, and I'll be working with some techniques like a wing stretch and a drunken walk and a scapular float, all things that help the upper back. And I might bring another couple of techniques in that I'll show you on a separate video. So it's really good to work into the sides of the glute as well, especially down that edge of the sacrum. You can trace the thumbs down a line. Now that can be quite sensitive with people. Some people got very toned muscles here, either from sports or lots of walking, and that might make it a little bit sensitive to touch and manipulate. But the worst thing is when their glute maxes are failing in their kinesiology muscle tests, which is then affecting their neck or vice versa. And therefore this exercise is lovely to do, which I'll show you now, called a soft tissue release. So I'm going to apply some pressure. Jez, can you bend this knee for me? Yeah. Hopefully this won't be too painful on you. Just hold your foot there. I'm going to apply pressure with a couple of thumbs. And now if you'd slowly like to lower your foot to the couch. How did that feel? A little bit sore. Okay, just raise it again. So we're going to do a few here to try and release that tension, and lower again. Okay, hopefully this will dissipate. I'm just working into it with a little Tuina at the same time. And again. Good, some nice heavy breathing going on, that will help. Was that sore? Yeah. Okay, let's do a couple the other side. It is a very sensitive muscle, yeah, and we have a lot of ligaments there that are holding the pelvis together. Okay, so can you raise that again? I'm just going to apply some pressure and lower nice and slowly. Oh, nice, good deep breath. Well done, well done. Is that all right? Yeah, same again. We're going to do another couple. So I'm applying pressure quite strongly, but slightly different location each time. And I can feel what's going on in the body when it's working. Okay, one last time. Oh, nice, good deep breath. It's really good to breathe out with a big sigh like that. It gets rid of any pain and tension. Massaging down the edge of that sacrum. Massaging onto the sacrum. Nice flat plateau of bone. And up into the waist, the obliques, the kidneys. Beautiful. And then the rounded part of the back, which is about T10. Of course, all of these will help with breathing, breath, lung capacity, help us recycle our breath, bring in new oxygen. Great. This is the area I want to work on here. I can feel a little bit of tension there. So I'm just going to do a move now, which is really nice to do. Okay. So I'm bringing one hand across the shoulder, pulling it down, while I use the other hand and wrist to push up. And that opposing direction helps soothe, stretch the muscles and skin of the upper back. Does that feel okay, Jez? It's very good. Okay. Yeah, that will help. And then the same again this side. Really good to hold the bottom tip of the scapula while I'm working it down, pushing up while I'm pulling down. And I'm making sure I'm not on the spine itself, I'm just to the right of the spine with the base of my hand. Great, okay, so now we're going to do a wing stretch. So I'm going to take the arm, give it a gentle tug. Now this is not only going to help the arm, it's going to help the whole top of the shoulder point, the scapula, deltoid, trapezius. I'm going to bring my hand through, support while I rotate, and I'm rotating in like a 3D circle. So I'm coming down, back, round, and then trying to reach as far as I can to help support and pull, stretch the whole scapula away. Give it a nice rock and a stretch and lie it back down. Massage it, Tuina it back, and then push it down a little. How we all do, we tend to bring our shoulders up, and it's nice to remind them that they can go down again. No, it's alright, I can. Okay, so coming round. Okay, so having done the Tuina, the wing stretch, the drunken walk and the scapular float, just coming down the body now, having a look at the alignment. It looks like your pelvis is rocked over to the right, but I'm not sure if that's just the way your genes are lying on you. I'll know once I do the repatterning. So just going to pick up a foot and have a look at the toe, the foot. Yeah, that's it. Separating, isolating the toe joint and the knuckle halfway up the big toe. That's really good, helps with our balance. Working into the thyroid area of the foot, into the scapula, down the spine. Spine doesn't feel too bad after all that treatment. A little bit tight there. That's about midway. Ooh, click, that's good. And now working to clear out and detox the urinary system, so from the adrenal, the kidney, down the ureter to the bladder. Clear out, so that all of the effects of the treatment, everything it's got working, is helping to clear, so that anything you don't need, that doesn't serve you, is going out in your waste. Wonderful. And now foot repatterning. Again, sensing and feeling the direction that your foot wants me to go in. And supporting at the solar plexus, holding each side of the heel, turning the foot so that it's gripping the hip in a particular fashion, and then repatterning. Ooh. So what should happen is the opposite hip should levitate, which is great. That's helping to restore balance to the pelvis. Coming round, doing the opposite side. I always give the sock around the toe a little bit of a tug there, because most people's socks are on so tightly around the toes that they are misshaping and stopping the toes from doing their own thing, from breathing, relaxing, from stretching out. That's it. So down the thyroid again, the parathyroid, underneath into the scapula, around the neck, which is the neck of the big toe, into that knuckle again, halfway up the big toe, separating. Oh, some nice clicks going on. Working down the spine. Doesn't feel as bad as the other side, actually. No, it was just the right side mid-back that came up on the foot. Left is feeling okay. That's good. And now working down from the adrenal, through the kidney, the ureter, and out through the bladder, helping clear whatever the treatment has helped to kickstart moving. That's nice strong massage. Working into the foot, seeing where it wants to go. Beautiful QiGong energy. And anchoring into that foot. And yeah, lovely. The opposite hip raising. Fantastic. Fantastic, really good. And now a sacral fix. Oh, wonderful. So Jez has had so many core therapy with me that he knows to relax at this point. He just trusts me. A lot of people at this juncture would just hold on to their pelvis and not let go, but that's fantastic. You feel all right, Jez? So now coming up for a sacral float. So like I've explained before with the sacral float, what I'm looking for here, once I've tuned into the body's energy, is the movement. Once the body relaxes and trusts me, there is a beautiful, very subtle rocking movement of the sacrum as the cerebral spinal fluid pulses. It's different for everyone, but maybe once every 5 or 8 seconds. It pulses down the spine, wraps around at S2, sacral 2, comes back up again, wraps around the brain, back down again. So important for life. So by doing a sacral float, one of the many benefits is to help restore balance and the correct pulse to the S, the cerebral spinal fluid. Some people will have a movement here. They'll perhaps judder. And when I first put my hands on Jez, I don't know if the camera would have picked it up, but there was a couple of really strong juddering sensations. It started off at the top and came all the way down the body. And that's a good sign. It shows the body is letting go. And Jez's breathing has become very calm and deep. I'm even inclined to think that he might have fallen asleep. That shows trust. It's such a compliment when my clients fall asleep during a treatment. Oh yeah, beautiful sacral rotation right now. And Jez has fallen asleep and the body is completely relaxed. Yeah, there's a tiny little nerve pulse in the pelvis. That's gone now. Beautiful orange light. Oh, a little tweak. Beautiful orange light, like a thick woolen orange scarf wrapping around the pelvis. Relating to our sacrum and our sacral chakra. One hand on the back of the head, one hand on the sacrum, feeling the energy between the 2 points. And once the energy levels out, there is often a moment of release, where the spine lengthens, so much so that I feel the energy spread as if from the centre of the spine up and down, and therefore separating my hands lengthways. It's coming now. Palpable energy. Wonderful. Okay, this is going to be difficult because Jez has fallen asleep. And with a little bit of movement, reassurance, a little bit of contact, and just to say, time to arouse and turn over in your own time. No rush at all. I think you did. Oh, this towel keeps coming up. Oh, it's because I've put a thick blanket underneath the couch cover because it's winter and it's really cold outside. I've got a heated blanket underneath and then a thick extra winter blanket underneath that, and so it means that the couch cover doesn't like staying on top of the couch. Right, let's give you a nice stretch. And I like to bounce the feet down because then I see how they lie, and hopefully their toes are pointing upwards as you can see, which is good. We haven't got one foot leaning out. They're nice and aligned. Knees are aligned, ankle bones aligned. I'm not sure if this pelvis is rocked slightly, so I'm just going to have a little feel of the pelvis and hook my thumbs around underneath your belt, around the front of the iliac points. Again, just feeling into a little QiGong energy to help restore balance at the hips. Yeah, I'm feeling like they need to come over to the left. My left. Yeah, that's going. I'm not applying too much pressure, it's just a little reassurance. A bit of a check out, really, just seeing which direction they want to go in. Yeah, that's much better. That's good. Okay, that didn't take long. So because we've been doing a lot of upper back work, I'm going to have a look at, just relax your elbow, just going to have a look by doing some arm repatterning, see how the shoulders respond. Oh, that's wonderful. Not many people can be that loose. Not only because you trust me, of course, but also because your shoulders aren't too bad at the moment. They're nice and loose and aligned. Fantastic, really good. Nice shake. Okay, coming around the other side, let's repeat the same. Of course, you're left-handed, so I'd have thought if there was going to be issues, it would be with the left. Although Jez is quite ambidextrous and can use right hand just as equally. Oh, let that go, let that go. Oh, let it go. Yeah, that's better. Oh, I'm just going to move the camera. That's better. Lovely. It's the right side, of course, that the issue was a couple of months ago. It feels completely great there now. So I've got my thumb into the soft tissue in between the neck and the shoulder point, and I'm just pushing it down. So by down I mean not just down towards the feet, but also down to the floor at an angle. Yeah, that's nice and soft. Lovely. still smell that moxa. Smells amazing. Not everyone likes it. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm used to it, I think.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to get my hands all the way as far as I can. Yeah, they're past the scapula and they're either side of the vertebra, the spine, and I'm just shifting. I'm having a feel and a check, just shifting each vertebra left and right. Let go, let go, let go, to see if it goes, to see if it's malleable, palpable, movable. Yeah, much better than it was. Especially, this is T1 here, this knobbly bone just at the very base of the neck. That's probably the tightest of all of them now, but the others aren't too bad. Those ones I was working on earlier, the T2, 3, 4. Okay, working into the neck. What do we find today? We've got a nice long neck here. And relax. So you can see I've got my fingers in a row at the very base of the occiput. In fact, underneath it. Just circling, wrapping underneath it. And I'm encouraging Jez to relax, tilt his head backwards, almost as if he's looking at the back wall, which is where our head should go once supported at the base of the occiput. Relax, relax, relax. Now a stretch. And all the time I'm working like this, I'm looking down the spine, checking the alignment, the ribs, the pelvis, the knees, ankles, the toes, the feet, that everything is aligned. If anything isn't, it's not a problem. It just means that it's something else I need to be working on. I see it as my mission to get the body aligned. It's not a problem with the person's body. It's something that I need to be doing. Having said that, every person that comes to see me, I treat as a dual mission. It's between us, so it's their responsibility as well to do some homework between treatments. So one biggie is that I often ask people, especially first day or two after a core therapy treatment, to avoid doing asymmetrical jobs. So for instance, hoovering, sweeping, mopping, brushing, raking, all of these things that tend to be repetitive, one-sided action, and that can include sports like badminton and tennis, golf for instance. So anything that's one-sided is not great to do after a core therapy. So I'll ask people to have a little bit of homework, avoid those things for a day or two, or if they need to do hoovering, etc., to alternate which arm and hand uses the instrument so that they use their body symmetrically. Turning the head, having a look at the neck now, working down the neck, seeing if there's mobility within each of the top vertebra. And then working in the processes. So the spinal processes are the arms of each vertebra as it stretches out left and right. And I'm just feeling at the moment, with a little pressure, to tilt it to see if it will rock away. And these are not bad at all, considering Jez has a nice tall back, long spine, long neck, and it has had neck issues in the past. How 99% of us have. But this is feeling not too bad today. Nice and soft. Mind you, he has been lying on the couch for about an hour and a half now, having a lot of treatment, all different kinds of things that I've been showing you, and I'll show you in a few videos on here. So not bad after all of those different techniques. Relax over to your left and working down the opposite side. Okay, so now working on the opposite side. I like to push the clavicle down as well so that I've got a nice long neck. I can see what I'm working with. Hopefully there's some give in the clavicle, in the neck bones. Great, and now just feeling this side. And it's interesting how one side of the neck can feel so different from the other side. Doesn't feel like the same person sometimes. But actually, this one feels great. Nice and loose, soft, malleable. Fantastic. I mean, the fact that these vertebrae are giving under my thumb is a great sign. And now I'm pushing the processes, the spinal processes, to see if those arms are able to tilt over to the right side, and they will. That's a good one there. Is that sore or is that okay, Jez? Yeah, a little bit sore. So I can normally tell when there is something out of alignment. That one just slightly, just feels like it's blocked slightly. There's a little bit of extra tension there, but it's going as I'm pressing there. I'm not giving too much pressure, it's just contact, it's just anchoring really. Always reassuring the client, letting them know everything's okay, you can let go, I know what I'm doing. Really good, fantastic. So I'm just going to hold the head now and work a little bit with the head levitated. I've got the full weight of the head. Jez is completely given the weight of the head and neck to me. Just going to tilt again, letting it rock back. You can see he's tilting all the way back as if he's looking at the back wall. I've got my fingers in a row underneath the occiput at the top of above C1, and now a nice gentle pull. Fantastic. You see, by doing a neck release like this, it helps so many things, and that includes clarity, clear-headedness, sleep. It helps avoid headaches, prevent headaches and migraines, because it allows free blood flow and good nerve signals to work at their optimum. Wonderful. So now I'm going to put my fingers in a row this time, instead of underneath the occiput, just under C2. That's another good one, and you'll notice the head is tilting even further back the further down the neck I go. Just holding it for another little while. And the good thing is, at the moment you can see that I'm not wearing any PPE, mask, gloves, visor, how I have done in the past. Jez hasn't got a mask on either, and that's because obviously we're in the same household. But at the moment in the UK, I am having to wear a mask for every client, and all clients are having to wear masks as well, unless they're exempt. Nice pull there. So I'm stretching the neck as well, which gives the head, once left again, a feeling of weightlessness. Now pushing the shoulders down, so I'm working from both angles really, pushing the shoulders down, especially at the very base of the neck and across the trapezius, and then pulling the head, but just gently. I don't want to tug the skin too much, and especially ladies with long hair, it'd be very easy at this point to by accident pull the hair, but I'm just wanting to give that stretch without any pain. Fantastic. So now I'm going to do another shoulder stretch by holding the base of the occiput with one hand and then pushing with the other hand down on that shoulder. I'm having to anchor myself with my foot against the wall while I do this, otherwise I'll just spin across the room. It's a nice strong stretch. Now muscles will hold on for 20-22 seconds, so if the therapist, in this case this is a good one to try, can stretch for at least 20 seconds, that will really help that neck, shoulder and arm let go. Fantastic. Coming round to the other side, supporting the occiput and stretching down. Does that feel alright, Jez? Is it too much?
No, it's okay.
Okay. It's amazing how much pressure you can apply here actually. Holding for a good few seconds. Noticing that the feeling of stretch gets less and less as the seconds go on, because it's giving in. Beautiful. Okay, so bringing the head back. Nice bounce. Now that is a really good sign. So when I bounce that down, the shoulder comes back up again. Same with the other one. Now some people that are very stiff and tight, I'll bounce that down and it will stay there. It won't come back up. That means that the muscle across here that's holding that shoulder is completely static and tight, and there is no give in it. So it's my job to get that malleable working and soft again. Wonderful. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a neck and temporal QiGong healing release, just for a moment, to anchor the whole treatment that we've just given into the body, into the spine, the nerves, into the blood system, into the cerebral spinal fluid, where I was working just a few minutes ago at the sacrum. And I know that Jez is completely relaxed and switched off again, because when he relaxes deeply, just like a lot of my other clients, the body starts to make little tiny, almost imperceptible movements. with my thumbs at the temporal bone and my other fingers stretching around the back of the occiput and the top of the neck. I'm marrying up the energy from where I've been to where I'm finishing. I'm hardly touching at all. There's certainly no pressure. It's just a little contact at the sides of the temporals. It's a beautiful energy. It doesn't matter if clients fall asleep. In fact, it's a real compliment to the therapist. Their body can take on the healing, the repatterning so openly. Oh, that's a good sign. It's all good. Okay. Okay, so we're just finishing off the core therapy by retesting a few of the kinesiology muscle tests that failed at the very start. So I can remember it was your right side IPSI, so that's your right arm and right leg. Yeah, I'm going to push and hold. Rock solid. And it was this contralateral and hold. Wonderful. And this one and hold. And I'm really pushing and there's no movement. It's fantastic. So that was good because the right side IPSI was where I felt behind the right hip. Both contralaterals meant that it was the jaw, and I gave the TMJ release earlier, so that seems to have worked. Now the other one I want to check are the hips, so I'm just going to push down with one. Can you raise a leg for me and hold? Wonderful. And the left side, sorry, and hold. Yeah, just going to try tilting them, holding that for a few seconds, and hold. Great. Other way round, and hold. Wonderful. Okay, so the one where we see if it's intact did pass earlier, so that's great. So we're done. Would you like to sit up? And how do you feel?
Feel great. I think that's as strong as I've felt in the core for quite a while, actually.
Strong as in you're passing your tests and you felt...
Passing the tests, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you feel like your body is aligned and strong and you don't have any particular weakness.
No, not at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. I mean, a couple of things came up, but I was able to, or the core therapy was able to rectify those quite easily, which is nice to know. Good old core therapy.
And I really enjoyed the Tuina,
Yeah?
as ever.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
The wing stretch as well today.
Yeah.
Yeah, really feels like it's doing something good for the body.
Yeah. Well, the wing stretch is working on the upper body, the thoracics, the scapula, and that's why I used the wing stretch, because I could feel that tightness in about T2, 3, 4. But of course, you do a lot of cycling and you're down on the handlebars like this, and just imagine the pressure on your upper body when you're like that with your neck at an angle like this. you know. So that's what I'm always thinking about, your body lifestyle and what it's got to cope with and what I might have to rectify in treatments.
But no, feel great.
Good. And everyone wanted to see you again, Jez, so here he is.
Great. Here I am. Good to see you all too.
Oh, it's nice. You see, he's more talkative today. No, it's been great to work on you today, and I'm glad it's helped.
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.